My name's Daryl Chadwick, and I'm cooking here today and working at Chadwick Co, which is based in Barker & Stonehouse. We try and source a lot of our ingredients locally. We have a favourite dish here at Chadwick Co, which is a falafel. You're all familiar with it, I guess. It's a Middle Eastern kind of street food. So we use dried chickpeas. Don't be tempted to use tinned or cooked because it's really hard for the falafel to stay together. So they've been soaking overnight. You've got to rinse them off over the sink in a colander. We tend to pop them on a little tray on a tea towel and put them in a low oven for maybe 20 minutes, and it just gets rid of the excess moisture. The second kind of bulk ingredient is the humble sweet potato, which we've got here. Just peeled, diced, about a centimetre dice, into a baking tray. So a bit of rapeseed oil or extra virgin olive oil if you've got it, and just a really good glug to help it roast in the oven. A bit of sea salt. I love using Maldon sea salt. I've even found out it's healthy now, so you can use as much as you like. And then we use a 5-spice. I'm just going to heat up a frying pan here. No oil in it, just nice and dry. Put my 5 spices in there. Shuffle them around a bit. You can smell them as they toast. And I always like to put a bit of garlic clove in as well. So this is gorgeous French Lautrec garlic, which a friend of mine brings over. Just give it a squash, take the skin off. A bit of salt on the chopping board, and then back of your knife, just give it a quick mash up. You can hear the spices popping away there now, and the spice grinder. Quick whiz. And just a little sprinkle on the sweet potato. That's good. We're going to put some more of this into the overall mix as well. Give it a bit of a mix round, get all that garlic into it and flavour. There you go. About half an hour. I've let it cool down because you don't want it to be particularly hot when you have to handle it. So it's nice and squishy. It's got loads of flavour. Tad more oil in there, a little glug. So I'm going for about 500 grams of chickpeas. About the same, half and half sweet potato. A good sprinkling of 5-spice or 7-spice. You can buy this already made, actually, in a local supermarket, I'm sure. A couple of teaspoons. We're going to pop some spring onions in, just tops and tails, quick wash, and just cross them along the cross section. Just chop, 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 chop. The whole thing whites right through to the green leaves. So another extravagant looking ingredient is just fresh dill, mint, flat leaf parsley in there, and a bit of coriander. And I seasoned the sweet potato with salt, as you saw earlier, but we've just put a lot more kind of unseasoned ingredients in, so just give it another pinch. There we go. So that's the nice basic falafel mix, so just give it a little mixer. I think you might be able to use a masher with this. Give it a little mix. If the chickpeas are a bit tough, which they tend to be because remember they haven't been cooked, you can pop them in a food processor. I kind of quite like the coarse texture of having mashed them by hand. So you can just pick up a golf ball size and it sticks together quite nicely. You can make them any shape you like. We tend to go around. You're just shallow frying them in a pan. You can make them flat. You don't need to use as much oil. Or at the same time, we've made some delicious flatbread. A Shipton mill flour. It's an English stone ground flour, which is beautiful to work with. It's a really fine milled wheat flour. It's got a tiny bit of yeast in this. It's almost a kind of a fermented dough, so sourdough style. Cut it into little pucks and shaped it down to kind of pita shaped, really. And I'm going to fry it in a pan. And a little bit of our lovely local oil. In Napoli, they fry pizza unbelievably. The oil's fairly hot. I'm just going to pop them in the pan. You know that the bottom's cooked when it starts to bubble through, pot through. I'm keeping one eye on that. And at the same time, we're going to fry the falafel. So I refrigerated them a little bit just to help them stay together. You can do this in an air fryer, I think there's such a thing. But I'm going to deep fry them in a pan. 190 degrees the oil. You can hear them sizzling. Try not to crowd the pan, maybe put 5 or 6 at a time in there. And they will take just 2 minutes. Okay, so we're looking after the flatbreads as well. We want them to be kind of nice and golden underneath. The beautiful colour of the oil really helps make these stand out as a lovely bread. Bring that forward. They're almost there, really. You don't want to cook them too hard because they do crisp up a bit on the outside. And you can pop them back through the oven when you're ready to eat them and warm them through. So try not to dry them out too much. There we go. You can pop them onto some kitchen roll just to soak up any excess oil. But there we go. There's some sweet potato falafel. Perfect timing. The bread's ready to flip. So you can just see here, it's a bit crispy on the bottom. I'm going to cook that for a bit longer, I think, when we turn it over. we'll make some tzatziki. So it's a Greek dish, which is close to my heart. 3, 4, 5 basic ingredients. The humble cucumber, just peel it. I like to leave a strip of skin on it, so this has been washed as well. So I just grate it on a coarse side of a grater. So we're going to use about 1 kilo of yogurt. It keeps quite well, so make a big batch and you can have it on every meal. Have a tea towel. Always pop this on the plate because your toes will get wet. And just gather it up, and then just gather the corners up. And as I squeeze, you can see we want to get rid of all that liquid. Squeeze cucumber. Again, some more Malden sea salt. Some lovely chopped fresh herbs. Okay, dill, mint, coriander. Again, some lovely oil, lathe as they call it, and grease. Some lemon juice, just kind of to balance out the salt flavour. And then just give it a really good mix. And some garlic, quite a lot. So we're getting all the garlic flavour, all the oil flavour into the cucumber. Huge tub of yogurt, which is beautiful, thick, strained Greek yogurt. You can buy it in the local supermarkets. This is straight from Greece. Season it again. Okay, there we go. Just give it a taste. We're going to make our homemade harissa. So I've just chopped up 500 grams of long finger chilies, 500 grams of peppers, chop them in half, pull the stalk out, and we're just going to rough chop them. So I'm just going to go over to my big machine. It doesn't take long with that. Lots of good oil. You can use extra virgin olive oil. You can use rapeseed oil, which we're using here, which is cold pressed. It's got a lovely golden colour. So I'd say a cupful of good oil. Half a cup of, this is sherry vinegar. You could use a really nice Cabernet red wine vinegar. It needs to be a good quality vinegar. Lots of garlic again. So the reason I'm not just popping this all together in the mixer and blitzing it is because I want to kind of develop the flavour of the oil and the vinegar. 5 or 6 cloves in there for this batch. And then the spices are the next thing. So I've got a mixture, half and half in here, of black cumin and caraway. Nice and hot, we're just going to dry toast them into the oil and vinegar. Okay, and get all that smoky spice flavour. So that's your blitzed pepper and finger chilies. In it goes. Okay, and just give it a nice mix. And I just like to leave it on the bench a few hours, room temperature. The flavour builds up, and then refrigerate it. You can put it in a jam jar that's sterilised with a nice tight lid on and keep it in the fridge for a couple of months. So there we are. That's our homemade harissa. Another little part of our falafel feast. I'm going to make a quick tahini sauce. A few ingredients. Guess what? The garlic's back. This is great. Kind of balances out the chili spice. So garlic in. So this is tahini. You can buy it from your local kind of food stores of the exotic variety. It's got a nice thick consistency to it. It's quite a bland flavour on its own. We use it quite a bit for everything. I make tahini cookies. It's quite nice in baking. I would squeeze maybe half a lemon in there. It's a weird thing. It kind of stiffens up at first. So you can see that it's gone to almost like a pastry kind of consistency. And then I just kind of add a bit of water. I usually do this under the cold tap, so you get free handing. See, it's starting to loosen up again. A little bit more water. Just go steady with the water, because if you overdo it and you get a really runny, watery, kind of creamy, milky consistency, it's a bit wet and it runs all around the plate. You want it to have a bit of body when it sits on the plate. A loose whipped cream is the consistency I'm going for. Okay, and then just pop that in the fridge, keep for 2 or 3 days, covered. Tahini paste. Hi, well, we've about done cooking, I think, so we're just gonna plate it up. So a bit of nice mixed leaf. So yeah, it's lovely, fresh, local. Some mizuna in there, rocket, and spinach. So we've made loads of falafels, so we're just gonna pop them around the plate. It's a lovely kind of sharing thing, this. You can just pop it on the table and pick up some bread, go at the dips, just have as much or as little as you like. Some lovely flatbread that we made. I've got the baharat spice, so just give that a little flavouring to the salad. Some nice soft herbs and dill, just some lovely flat leaf parsley. I've dressed the salad already, this is with our homemade dressings, a bit of rock salt on there. A bit more of that lovely oil to make everything glisten and shine. And then, I think the harissa can just go everywhere. Just a bit of tzatziki here and there. And then the tahini, which nearly finishes off all this style of cookery. I made a few pickles earlier as well, just here and there. Wonderful, there we are. I think that's all ready to go.